Hi, and welcome to Northwest Brew Talk. I'm Mike Rizzo.
And I'm Michelle Rizzo.
And this is episode number 31. This is baby episode number 1. As 3 days ago, we gave birth to a little baby girl.
I'm sorry, we gave birth?
Yeah, it was we. I had a part in that, and I was there at the birth.
Yes, you were.
All right. But yes, and that is why, since we've been doing the show, Michelle has not drank any beer, and starting this week, she will be joining me in the beer sampling. Yes, it'll be good. So each week, we promote the Washington brewing industry by talking to those people involved in drinking Washington beer. With almost 300 breweries, we try to highlight as many as possible every episode. If you are new to the show, we suggest you check out our back catalog with some great interviews and lots of Washington beer. On today's show, we have an interview with Strong Arm Brewing, our brew news and views, and local music from Ashes of Mercury.
If you have any comments or questions, send us an email to nwbrewtalk@gmail.com. We're on Twitter at NW Brew Talk and on Facebook at facebook.com/NW Brew Talk. If you like the show and you want to support us, why not become a patron? With a donation, we offer everything from a guest hosting the show to a copy of our upcoming book, Washington Beer. Head over to nwbrewtalk.podbean.com for more details. To start the show, let's open a beer.
All right, we've got 2 on tap this week. Our first one here is called Here's Your Damn Amber from North Sound Brewing.
North Sound Brewing Company is located in Mount Vernon. They've been open since 2010 and are owned by Kurt and Lori Ahrens. Their ales are inspired from traditional English and Irish style ales. They've got 9 beers on tap with their adult-only tap room. And, I'm sorry, not adult-only, 21 and over only. They are open 7 days a week. And Wednesdays are $9 growler fills.
All right. Amber is pretty amber in color. And I like the reason that they gave the beer its name. Here's Your Damn Amber is available because they got tired of people requesting an amber. So here's your damn amber. It's a malt-forward, slightly sweet, medium-bodied ale. 5.6% ABV.
Yeah, there's not a lot of sweetness to it. It's good. I like it. Of course, I like most ambers. So
yeah, no, it's not sweet at all. Not a hoppy beer, but it is. It's a nice, tasty beer. All right, and now onto our brew news and views.
By autumn, Hales Ales will be opening a warehouse in Bremerton dedicated to aging barrels of beer. The new location will include a tasting room where there will feature beers of distinction from Hales and breweries around the Northwest. The new location is at 1509 Wyckoff in Bremerton. We will have more details when they open. A bunch of beer events are coming up in the next few weeks. The first is the South Sound Craft Beer Festival, to be held this Saturday, August 29th at Tacoma Dome Exhibition Hall. Hosted by the Washington Beer Commission, this event features 31 Washington breweries and over 90 craft beers. There will be live music and food to pair with the beer. Admission is $20, and the event runs from noon to 6 p.m. This event is 21 and over only.
Bellingham Beer Week runs from September 11th through September 20th throughout Bellingham. Opening ceremonies are Friday the 11th at Elizabeth Station with Reuben's Brews. Saturday, September 12th is Oktoberfest at Chuckanut Brewery. They've got all kinds of stuff going on. Other events at the local include Strange Brew Night on the 15th and Nano Brew Night on the 16th. Also on the 15th, Dick Cantwell, one of the founders of Elysian Brewing in Seattle, will be talking about his upcoming book at Village Books in Bellingham at 7 p.m. There are tons of events, so visit BellinghamBeerWeek.com for more details. Boundary Bay Brewery is celebrating their 20th anniversary Wednesday, September 16th. And they're throwing the biggest block party Bellingham has ever seen. Just so happens that their anniversary falls smack in the middle of Bellingham Beer Week. They're kicking things off at 3 p.m. and will feature all kinds of awesome surprises. Zipline, live music, entertainers, food trucks, rock wall, and much, much more.
The official Bellingham Beer Week beer will also be released during the Beer Week. Brewed by Aslan Brewing, Boundary Bay Bay Brewery, Chuckanut Brewery, Gruff Brewing, Colshan Brewing, North Fork Brewing, Stone's Throw Brewing, and Wander Brewing. The beer, Northwest Local Lager, has been brewed with Alba and Copeland malt from Skagit Valley Malt and hops from Cascade, Chinook, Amarillo, and Mount Hood hops from Yakima. Friday, October 23rd is Brew Seattle 2015. This event is the largest Seattle-only breweries tasting event of the year. Over 20 brewers will be serving over 60 beers at this third annual event. Pike Place Brewery is reigning Brewery of the Year from last year's event. Tickets are $29 and include 6 tasting tokens. Sponsored by Seattle Magazine, they promise it will sell out, so dilly-dally at your own risk, they say.
All right, the 2015 Fresh Hop Beer Week will be September 30th through October 4th in Yakima. It sounds like it's a first-time event, and all the details aren't available yet, except one. The 2015 Fresh Hop Ale Festival will be held on October 3rd. Named as one of the 10 best beer festivals in the nation, this 13th annual event is all about the hops and beer that is produced with hops that were picked no more than 24 hours before brewing. The beer is judged at the festival for best fresh hop ales. Festival goers also judge their own favorites. They plan on having 40 breweries participate, but the complete list is not yet available. Last year's festival winners were first place Lagunitas, second place Colshan Brewing Company, and third place Fremont Brewing Company. There will be food, wine, cider, spirits, music, and proceeds from the festival go to support Yakima Valley art organizations. Tickets are $30 for general admission, or $65 for VIP garden and dinner. Visit freshhopalefestival.com for more details. And that is our brew news and views for this week.
Welcome back to Northwest Brew Talk. If you want to submit news to Northwest Brew Talk, send us an email to nwbrewtalk@gmail.com. Or if you've not yet subscribed to our podcast, why not do it now? It's free, available anywhere you listen to podcasts, including iTunes, Podbean, and Stitcher. If you like us, a review or rating would be really appreciated. But make sure to tell your friends about Northwest Brew Talk.
All right, now let's go talk to Cincinati Smith from Strong Arm Brewing. We're talking with Cincinati Smith from Strong Arm Brewing.
Yep.
How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good. So we were just going to talk about, you were just going to tell me about, how you got going into this.
So our head brewer, Robert, and I have been friends for many years, and he's been brewing for a long time, and it's one of those, classic stories of, hey, this beer is great, you should open a brewery.
Oh, yeah.
And so I knew some friends that opened a brewery, we went through the process, and I told Robert one day, I'm gonna open a brewery, we're gonna start it, and he said, go ahead, Smith, and I started it, and we did, and that was about 3 years ago. We have another partner, Mac, who's our operations guy, so he does all of our finances and brewery build out and vendor relations and that kind of thing, and I do the marketing, and Robert's our brewer.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So, you were home brewers?
Robert was a home brewer before, yeah.
Okay.
I was a home brewer too, but I mostly stood around and drank beer while he brewed. So it was a pretty good deal. For
you
me.
had to keep testing everything that he brewed.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you opened in what year?
We opened in 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, our official license date was January 2nd, 2012.
All right, so you just like beer? That's why you decided?
Yeah, my introduction to the craft, I grew up drinking Mickey's and, whatever my dad brought home, and my introduction to craft beer was really kind of like Mac and Jack's and Georgetown and those guys, and just kind of opened my eyes a little bit to what beer could be. Robert just likes the science of it, and he's an experimenter, and when we got together, really appreciated how unique and diverse beer can be, and I've really become just fascinated by it and what the possibilities are. And so, we brew 3 main styles. We brew a pale ale, an IPA, which was our flagship beer, and an imperial brown ale. They're 3 primary. We always have those around. Then everything else is kind of what we feel like brewing, and we get ideas from festivals or something Robert reads, or just we get ideas for beers that are associated with something we enjoy. Like we did a French beer because I like cycling in the Tour de France. So we did a barrel-aged French beer a couple years ago. And so we just really like experimenting and enjoy what beer can be.
Right. Decent, good beer.
Yeah.
Now, you guys self-finance the company?
We did. Everything's bootstrapped between the 3 of us for now. We're actually in the midst right now of looking at talking to some investors and some potential loan opportunities, and we'll go through a big expansion here probably by the end of the year.
So how big is your system now?
We're 2-barrel right now. We have a 2-barrel brew house, 4-barrel fermenters and bright tanks. We're in about 2,000 square feet, and that's the tap room and brewery. We got 2 walk-in coolers and kegs and a malt grinder and all that going on out there, yeah.
So how big would you upgrade to?
Probably minimum 10, probably a 15.
Okay.
We'll go to, yeah.
And then more fermenters?
Yeah, we'll move into a commercial location and open a larger tap room, be able to have more pint sales there, just not, as opposed to just growler fills, and obviously more distribution too.
Right.
Yeah.
So how far are you distributed now?
You know, we're pretty much just in the south end. We get up north a little bit if there's like some events up there that we're kind of associated with, like beer week events, or we make a triple IPA. We've always made a triple IPA, which is kind of a unique beer, and so we get invited to the Hop Mob Roadshow every year. We've been involved in that.
Nice.
That's pretty fun. Yeah.
So, going with that, is there any specific hops that you guys lean towards?
We use a lot of Cascade, Centennial. You know, we try to design our IPAs around hops that are available.
Okay.
You know, some of them are tough to get, and it doesn't make sense to put a beer out there that you can't reproduce pretty regularly. We're getting a little bit better at that. We do have our double IPA uses some hops like Citra and Warrior that are a little harder to get. So, but we pretty much use basic hops. We do some things like hop recirculation, hop bursting, that I think changes the flavors. To me, if you put hops in too early in the boil, you get some astringent flavors out of them, and much more bitter. Robert's really about balance in his beers. I think the trend in Washington and the West Coast is higher alcohol, more hops, higher alcohol, more hops, and it just gets overwhelming. We like to drink our beer. I want to have 2 or 3 in an afternoon and not destroy my palate. And so Robert's really about balance in a lot of the things that we do. Yeah.
Nice. So you have the 3 that you have all the time, and then a variety of other ones. Do you do a dark?
Oh yeah, we do a lot of darks. We do oatmeal milk chocolate stout. It's been very popular. In fact, we did that beer. We added some cold pressed coffee to it, and we barrel aged in a whiskey barrel. We won a gold medal this year at the Washington Beer Awards in the barrel aged category. So been very fortunate with that. We do a coconut porter. We do a standard porter. We do quite a few dark beers. We're working on a kind of maybe a 20% Russian Imperial Stout. Kind of toying around with that, but yeah, we definitely are diverse. We do some Belgians, some fruit beer adjuncts. We did a winter warmer this last year that had spruce tips and juniper and bitter orange peel in it, and we aged in a gin barrel.
Nice.
So we're kind of diverse in what we do for sure. Any
styles that you guys haven't done yet that you're interested in?
Absolutely. I think we haven't really done any lagers or pilsners yet, and I think we'd like to get into that. We're also looking into doing some more traditional beers, like maybe some Commons or Roger beers or those kind of things that are more traditional styles. And we'd like to explore. Robert's just started brewing some sours.
Okay.
Which they're finicky beers. They take a long time. You got to babysit them, and I think a lot of people say I don't like sours because they haven't had one that's made right yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And breweries need to be really patient with that. So we're starting to explore that a little bit too.
So, what's the goal? What's your goal as a brewery?
Yeah, I think for us, this is the story I tell. To me, beer is a social drink. It's very much about experiences. Like, I associate great beer experiences with great experiences with people.
Okay.
And I really enjoy that social aspect of it, and Mac and Robert and I kind of agree on that. I'd like to be able to grow big enough to have a pretty fair distribution in Western Washington, but still retain that kind of feeling association that our consumers have with our beer. Like, they're a part of it. Some of the ideas we have for styles come from our customers. They feel very connected to what we do, and I don't want to lose that. So as a brewery, we'd like to grow a little bit, but not too big where we lose that touch with the people that have helped us get there, and that have some loyalty and some love for what you do.
So you have that kind of neighborhood brewery feeling.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to be. I like the Washington thing where we're in Renton. There's 2 breweries in Renton. The other one is much smaller than we are, surprisingly enough. And so, we like that feel of being kind of a hometown Renton. We want to retain that. Even if we grow, we're going to stay in that area. And yeah, that's kind of our idea of what a good brewery should be.
Yeah, it's been a common theme that I've talked to lately. A few people they don't want to be a huge 50,000 production.
Yeah,
barrel.
it's a very social community. One of the things that pleasantly surprised me when we got going is how social the community is of brewers. There's not a lot of competition.
Yeah.
Everybody is they want to do collaboration beers. They want to support each other. They want to give each other information that helps them succeed, and they want to promote each other. And that's been a great feel in the community. I think that's why you have a festival like this with 25,000 people coming through the gates. It's because they feel a part of that community, and they see the breweries acting in that way, and it's a very enjoyable thing.
Yeah, definitely. It's unlike anything that I've seen.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
I would agree with you.
It's very cool. So, as the brewery, what's one of the biggest obstacles you guys have had?
That's an interesting question. I say every brewery is trying to expand in some way or another. If you're Elysian in Georgetown, they're expanding, and if you're the little guy, they're expanding too. And it's a difficult premise for a lot of breweries. There's capital, of course, but there's time invested, and then there's, do you self-distribute or you just deal with a distributor, or who do you get equipment from? Is the equipment right? I think one of our biggest surprises was just getting up and running, and all the little hurdles you have to get over in equipment and efficiencies, and getting your recipes dialed in when you're growing to a bigger system and all that, and getting it dialed in. But the hardest thing, I think, is expanding, and then being able to support that expansion really as a brewery, because you don't want to lose what you've built already,
right? Exactly.
And by expanding either.
Right. Good point. So what do you think makes your beers different?
That's good. Yeah. Well, Robert's a genius.
Right.
I don't want him to hear me say that because his ego will grow a little bit. But he's one step away from a lab coat. He's a real scientist. And I remember early on, I'm a marketing guy. Okay. So one of our flagship beers, we couldn't get the hop for it. And I did a little research online. I said, well, Robert, this hop says it's pretty close to that hop. You should have seen the email I got back. It was 2 pages of why this cohumulene level doesn't do this, and this flavor profile is different, doesn't work with this malt quite right. And he really gets why things go together a certain way. I've been telling him I want to do a gin barrel-aged IPA. We haven't done it yet because he hasn't sat down to take the time to build the recipe for an IPA that works with that profile, right? And he's meticulous about our process. He's meticulous about our cleanliness. He does some things that are really interesting, like in his base grain profiles, that I think add some character to our beers. Really thoughtful about that. And it's just, his mom was a food scientist for the FDA for like 30 years. So he just has that mentality about being able to formulate a recipe and formulate a process for that recipe that makes the end result just right. I mean, and we've had to dump a few beers, which is painful.
Yeah. But
he said, he's not going to put it out there because it's not what he wants. It's not what he intended. It wasn't just right, so we're not going to put it out there. And so we don't, people start to trust you as a brand. I talked to Ruben's Brews about this the other day, where I can trust that if I go to a place and I see that handle, that beer's going to be good.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we've kind of built. Like people don't have bad beer with us. It may not be their style,
right?
May not be their flavor, what they really love, but they're not going to have a flawed or bad beer from us.
Right.
And they start to trust that brand association, and that's really what we're working towards.
Nice. So what is your do you have a gateway beer?
I think, you know what? Interestingly enough, the Cincinati Imperial Brown Ale. People say the brewery named a beer after you, and I was like, no, I named a beer after me. But most of our beers are named after us or friends, nicknames or an inside story. A lot of them have association with that. But the Imperial Brown Ale, so it's 8.5%. You wouldn't think that'd be a universally appealing beer, but it really is. It's low bitterness. It's malty. It's a little bit sweet, and so people who are real beer aficionados like the malt complexity of it, and it's not an IPA. And people who are not real beer drinkers appreciate it because it's not overly bitter and it's a little sweet. And women who typically like sweeter beers, we've had a lot of IPA fans that have been women today, but women who like maybe a little bit sweeter or not so aggressive flavor profiles really enjoy it too. So that beer has been really popular for us. And our pale ale is a little lower bitterness, and we use some specialty malt in it, not just all two-row. And so it has a little bit more of a backbone to it, and people really seem to enjoy that too. And those are two of our staple beers that we brew all the time. So
you brought up women. That's one thing. My wife, who does the show with me, noticed that there's a lot of women.
Absolutely.
This is at least 50% women coming to this
Absolutely.
event.
I love it.
Yeah, it's not something that if it was, a mega beer, then it would not be the same.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. There's a lot. We test a lot of our beers on our wives. The three of us do. None of them are real big beer drinkers, so I kind of use that as a gauge to tell whether we're appealing to a broader market. You want to appeal to obviously a craft beer drinker. It's got to be a legitimate style and a legitimate flavor to do that. But you want to try and make beers that a lot of people can enjoy. If they come to a barbecue and somebody bought a growler of our beer, that's going to be appealing to more than just a couple people there. Yeah. We've tried to, our brand is Strong Arm. It's kind of a muscular arm in the logo, but we've tried to make sure it's appealing to a broader range, including women. In fact, some of our marketing directly has been towards women. And we're actually, funny you say that, we're working on a collaboration beer with a woman-owned brewery.
Okay.
So I love it.
Yeah.
I love that the crowd is more diverse. I love that I think the styles and brewers are going to be forced to brew more styles because of that, because you need to be able to appeal to that market too. Yeah. And so brewers are forced to be more creative in what they come up with, adding adjuncts or whatever that is. And I love it. I think it's great.
Last question then.
Okay.
Strong Arm. Where'd that come from?
Well, so initially the brew, we were toying around names, Robert and I, and we came up with Torque Brewing, which is one of my nicknames, in a past life, right? And Robert came to me one day and he said, I just don't think the name's right. I don't think the name's right for the brew. I don't think people will get it, And I said, you're right. I'm a marketing guy from way back. So I went back to the drawing board and I started just kind of toying around with names. I really don't know why it popped in my head. I thought Strong Arm, that's pretty good. I did some research about other breweries, maybe name that, and couldn't find anything online, and went back to Robert and said, what do you think of Strong Arm? He's like, it's perfect. It's perfect. The idea is kind of not a bodybuilder, right? It's a guy who works all day. He's a logger. He's an iron worker. He's a working man. He works all day and he wants to come home and enjoy a beer after work. That's kind of the thought process behind it. Somebody who works hard and enjoys themselves and enjoys rewarding themselves for that, and that's where it came up with. Now Torque is our flagship IPA, Torque IPA.
Well, there you go.
So it fits with the brand a little bit. But that's kind of where the name
so
came
you've got
from.
your name in there a couple times.
I do. I would try my best. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, Cincinnati, thanks for visiting with us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the asking me to do it, and I really like what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you to Cincinnati from Strong Arm for joining us today. Nice interview. Now we'll be right back after a local music break from Ashes of Mercury.
Well, you're hotter than a handle on the gates of hell, like a stove fuse burning down a wish well. Yeah. And you burn like a train rolling off the track. You're an automatic angel, you're a heart attack. Yeah. Nobody's full.
That was Get Up to Get Down Mix 2 by Ashes of Mercury. You can check them out at reverbnation.com. If you want to have your music played on Northwest Brew Talk, contact us today. Now, let's try another beer.
Okay, we have Broadsword Scottish Ale by Anacortes Brewery. All right, Anacortes Brewery Rockfish Grill in Anacortes has been open since 1994. Founded by Rick Starr and Alan Rhodes, they have a special cold room for lagering their beer. In the 1800s, they used to dig cellars where they would do the same type of thing.
Wow, that's got an interesting flavor to it.
And how does that smell here? Okay.
Broadsword Scottish Ale. This strong Scottish ale has robust malty flavors with subtle smokiness and a balanced bitterness from Pearly, Cascade, and Mount Hood hops. Broadsword is made with black patent caramel, chocolate, Munich, and peat smoked malts for a dark color and rich flavor. This has 8.3% ABV and 35 IBUs.
Yeah, that...
This is a darker beer, which is usually one of my favorites.
It's an amber, but it's a dark amber. Almost like a copper dark. And, copper's probably lighter. But,
yeah,
this is, you can taste 8.3%. You can taste it, the alcohol. It's definitely a higher ABV for sure. All right. That's, again, both of these beers are not bad today.
We made a good choice for my first week tasting beer back, I think.
Yeah. I wasn't sure what the Broadsword was. I didn't know that it was another amber ale. Just happened to turn out that way.
I want you to give me fresh beer. You serious? Now!
Welcome to Fresh Beer. This week's Fresh Beer is from Urban Family Brewing Company in Seattle. This Friday, August 28th, they will be releasing 2 barrel-aged beers from the Fancy Sauce line. First up is Raspberry. That sounds interesting. Aged in white wine barrels with their house microflora for 13 months with 3 different raspberry additions totaling more than 90 pounds per barrel. This beer is bright red, dry, with a super pungent raspberry effervescence. Also, peachy. Baby Cakes peach aged in a white wine barrel for 9 months with a 50-pound addition of fresh Washington peaches. No bottle limit. Wow, those both sound good.
They do. Definitely sound like some good beers. We haven't tried any of their beers yet. We're definitely have to
No,
get
we
some.
haven't. Yeah, we will.
All right. And that brings us to the end of this episode of Northwest Brew Talk.
Make sure to tune in next week when we chat with Snipes Mountain Brewing.
This show is produced and edited by me. There's a lot of that. With engineering help from Michelle Rizzo.
If you want to contact us, you can email us at nwbrewtalk@gmail.com or give us a call at 541-595-TALK.
Until next time, I'm Mike Rizzo.
And I'm Michelle Rizzo.
Stay hopping, my friends.